Disastrous Necromancer Chapter 53. Finally someone comes to die. The moonlight fell on the ground like snow. The smell of blood in the air was even stronger. In just a few minutes after Baishan finished speaking, all candidates were ready for battle. There are no auxiliary occupations here, only main combat occupations. The candidates formed a battle formation. The knights are at the front, followed by the mage and the archer. Knights follow their beliefs. If you want to kill your teammate, just step on your own corpse. TSK TSK TSK, that's pretty good. It's a pity that you are all going to die. 1 hour is enough to kill you all. It's a pity that I can't take your body back. The flesh and blood of the young people are the most delicious. Ha 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 ha. The gloomy voice accompanied by the bloody moonlight made people shudder. A trace of disgust flashed across Lin Moyu's expression. This kind of sneaky guy is the most despised. Xiaoshui was so frightened that her face turned pale, and she moved a little closer to Lin Moyu. It seems that Lin Moyu can bring her some sense of security. Not only Xiaoshui, but many people were frightened, and their expressions were not good-looking. Coming! Someone yelled. A huge figure appeared in the moonlight. The detection technique flew over immediately, creating waves of breeze. Fill-in Orc Warrior, Abyss Infestation, level 19. Someone suddenly yelled. I remembered, there is a level limit for the battle space, the highest level is 19. When he called out, someone also remembered this matter. That's right, why did I forget that the highest battle space is level 19, it can't be higher. I was taken aback just now. It is indeed only level 19. Then there's nothing to be afraid of, there are so many of us. Before he finished speaking, he suddenly shut up, unable to finish the following words. After that huge figure, one figure after another appeared, out of sight, at least 100 of them. They are all level 19 monsters, all infected by the abyss. Each monster is 3 meters high, exuding a terrifying aura. They walked towards the examinees collectively, and the ground was so trampled that it shook. Under the moonlight, the monster looked hideous. There are dense barbs on the tail. After being infected by the power of the abyss, the appearance of the Farron Orc Warrior has been greatly changed. Become more terrifying. The powerful pressure hits overwhelmingly. After all, the candidates are only 18 years old and have never experienced a real battlefield. When have I seen so many scary monsters? All of them were so frightened that their legs went weak. I lost most of my courage just now. Xiaoshui also turned pale, and unconsciously grabbed Lin Moyu's clothes. What should I do? Lin Moyu looked solemnly. Look at the size, it's not an ordinary monster. At least it's an enhanced elite monster. It's troublesome, but it can be dealt with. It was rare for him to say so much, as if he wanted to reassure Xiaoshui. But his words did not reassure Xiaoshui at all, but made him even more frightened. They are all enhanced elite monsters. Aren't they the same as the monsters in the nightmare level dungeon? Suddenly, the corner of Lin Moyu's mouth drew a faint arc. Infected by the power of the abyss and mutated, will there be experience? Lin Moyu thought of a possibility. If it was what he thought, would these monsters allow him to advance to a higher level? The huge monster is approaching, not running, but approaching a little bit. It's like trying to play tricks on everyone, not in a hurry to kill them all. The cold voice from the abyssal demon reappeared. Are you scared? Are you scared? These monsters have been strengthened by my power, and each one is equivalent to a strengthened elite monster. The number is not many, just 100. The white god said that if you unite, you can win. Look now, is it really okay? Hey, there are more than 100 of you, so it happens to be one for each of you. Are we singled out or gang fights? Do you want to have a competition like your competition? Is it better than 100 games? The winner lives and the loser dies. Ha 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 ha. The devilish voice hit everyone's ventilation again. The monster was approaching, but the candidates were retreating. The team was pulled out of 2 levels at once. Wang Ziheo's face was pale at this time, his legs trembled and he retreated together. The holy swordsman Feng Xiu held the sword. Although his face was not good-looking, he did not take a step back. The same was true for Zhuomei, holding the dagger, ready to fight to the death. There are also many candidates like Fengxiu Zhuomei, who are in a fighting posture. Lin Moyu glanced at them, and he moved. Click! Porphyr! The skeleton warrior rushed to the front, and Lin Moyu followed behind. Xiaoshui looked anxious. What are you doing? Come back quickly. What are you going to do? It's like this every time, without saying anything. Xiaoshui stomped her feet and followed. At this time Lin Moyu suddenly shouted in a low voice, Go back. Xiaoshui paused. I don't want it. Whatever. Lin Moyu didn't say anything more, just follow if you want, it doesn't affect anything anyway. The sudden movement of Lin Moyu attracted the attention of many people. What is this man going to do? He actually rushed up. A lot of skeletons. Is this his summon? Is this man a summoner? Anyone know him? A series of detection techniques fell on Lin Moyu. Lin Moyu, level 16, Necromancer, what kind of profession is that? I've never heard of it. I don't know, I've never heard of this profession. Maybe it's a new job. What should we do? Should we go together? Only a dozen people rushed over with Lin Moyu. Fengxiu and Zhuomei were among them. Holding the will to die. Even if you have to die in battle, you have to die like a soldier. Xinxia people are not afraid of war and death. The Abyss demon sneered, Hey, someone finally came to die. You are courageous, you deserve praise. You have great courage, I really don't want to kill you, why don't you come to the Abyss and be the servant of this demon king? Disastrous Necromancer Chapter 54, It is impossible to exist this kind of occupation. Lin Moyu ignored the words of the Abyss demon. When he came 50 meters away from the monster, he stopped suddenly. Do you want to understand? The gate of the Abyss is always open for you. The voice of the abyssal demon sounded again. Lin Moyu also had a slight smile in his eyes at this time. The limit distance for the corpse burst is 100 meters, and 50 meters is the intermediate distance. It is safe and sufficient. Xiaoshui came to Lin Moyu's side. She knew that Lin Moyu must have his own ideas, so she didn't ask much. Why don't you go up? Why did you stop? Fengxiu, Zhuomei and others also rushed over with doubts on their faces. Here, all right. Lin Moyu said in a low voice, pointing forward a little. Wow! All skeleton fighters appear at the same time. A total of 100 skeleton warriors are like an army. So much. He actually has so many summons. This job looks amazing. After the skeleton warriors appeared, they charged towards the orc warriors like lightning one by one. The speed is so fast. Zhuomei narrowed her eyes suddenly. She is a stalker, known for her agility attribute, and her full explosive speed is very fast. But at this time, he found that his speed was far inferior to that of the skeleton warrior. Hey, there are so many summons. It's still an undead summoning thing. Take these bones back and feed them to the watchdogs. In the blink of an eye, the skeleton warrior had arrived in front of the Furlan orc. Skill! Lin Moyu's heart moved, and the big knife in the skeleton warrior's hand shone bright red at the same time. More than a dozen skeleton warriors used their skills on a Furlan orc at the same time. A series of red lights fell, and the Furlan orc was seriously injured. The attack power of the skeleton warrior is stronger than expected. Furlan orcs were infected by the power of the Abyss and became extremely powerful. In this way, he is not dead yet. The huge swords in their hands fell on the skeleton warriors one after another. Lin Moyu could feel the skeleton warriors being injured one after another. But the injury was not serious. The opponent's attributes can be roughly judged from the damage received by the skeleton warrior. Strength should be around 3,000. Physique should exceed 3,500. The higher the physique, the better. After the skeleton warrior finished using his skills, the knife in his hand kept falling on the Furlan orc. A dozen or so skeleton warriors ignored the attack and besieged a Furlan orc with all their strength. A few seconds later, the Furlan orc fell to the ground with a scream. Kill a level 19 film orc fighter, experience plus 8,000, sure enough, I have experience. Lin Moyu found that his judgment was correct. It's just that the experience is a little bit less, but it's better than nothing. There is light in the palm. Boom! The sudden explosion startled them. Then they saw an unbelievable scene. The seemingly mighty Farron orc warriors fell like wheat. Boom! Boom! Explosions followed one after another, each explosion taking away a dozen orcs. After more than a dozen earth-shattering explosions, all the Farron orcs were dead. Lin Moyu looked at the experience, and he was still a little short of the upgrade. This kills them all? No, it's that simple. What kind of skill is this? It's too powerful. The amount of damage caused by the bursting of the corpse is calculated according to the vitality of the corpse. The stronger the vitality of the corpse, the greater the power of the explosion. So for Lin Moyu, as long as he can create the first corpse, the enemies of the same type can only suffer death. Everyone was stunned. One by one trembling excitedly. Saved, saved. This brother is too strong, Necromancer, this profession is too powerful. I'm sure that this brother will become a god-level talent in the future. Wang Zihao said, how can it be so powerful, how can it be so powerful? His profession is too strong, why didn't I awaken this profession, it's not fair. No one paid any attention to his words, and now everyone is still in shock, and it is difficult to recover for a while. This scene is too fantastic to be believed. What happened was beyond everyone's understanding. It's not just the candidates who don't believe it, even the abyssal demons don't believe it. The voice of the abyss demon sounded again, impossible, this is impossible. You angered me, the devil, and I want to kill you and eat your flesh. Amidst the screams, the scarlet moonlight suddenly burst into brilliant light. Another group of monsters appeared from all directions. This time, the monsters scattered widely, rushing towards the professionals as soon as they appeared. Their target is professionals. The professionals suddenly panicked and began to flee. Fortunately, the battle space is large enough, and they have enough room for detours. Now, let's see what you do. You are all going to die, all of you are going to die. The voice of the abyss demon is much weaker than before. The power of the abyss that can enter the battle space is limited, and if you use some, you will have less. Lin Moyu looked up at Hongyu. There is a dark shadow on the red moon. So you are here. Calculated the distance is about 200 meters. Lin Moyu issued an order in his heart at the same time. Several skeletons suddenly lifted the corpse of a Farron orc and threw it towards Hongyu with great force. Then a skeleton hugged Lin Moyu, and a skeleton warrior threw them up. The body of the Farron orc flew towards the red moon like a sharp arrow, and Lin Moyu followed closely behind. You, what are you going to do? You crazy! The abyss demon suddenly panicked, and his voice began to tremble. Lin Moyu didn't speak, just stared at him coldly, with killing intent in his eyes. The body of the Furlan orc approached the shadow on the red moon, and Lin Moyu directly detonated it. In the loud bang, the abyss demon let out a scream. Sombra was hit by the explosion, but he didn't die. This king is going to kill you, kill you. The voice became extremely weak, screaming wildly. Not dead yet. Lin Moyu's palm glowed again. Soul flame. Ignore the defense and directly cause damage to the soul. A flame appeared above the black shadow, and the black shadow screamed again. What kind of skill is this? Why can it burn the soul? What kind of profession are you? It's impossible for such a profession to exist. Impossible. Lin Moyu didn't say a word, and when he fell, he added a soul flame in time. Although Sombra was still screaming, he had become extremely weak.